Each of our posts now has the authors listed, and what we want to do is link the author to an author page. This is our list of authors, so let's wrap the h3 in a link tag from Next.js. The href will be /authors/ and then we'll pass the author.slug. And I need to make sure that I import link from next link. And now the author names are links, and if I click on one, we should have a 404 page because we haven't created the authors/slug route. So let's go ahead and create that. So inside app, I will create a file which will sit inside authors/slug/ and the file is page.tsx. And here I'll export default async because we want a server component, function author page. And let's just return for now a div with an h1 that says author page. There it is, and you can see here we are on the Simon slug. And the way we can get this slug is with the params. And here we want the slug param, which is a string. So I can destructure the slug from params. And if we don't have a slug, we're going to render the not found route from next navigation. If we do have a slug, we will return author page, and let's add for slug. And there we go, author page for Simon, author page for Jed. And right now this is not connected to Keystatic data, so if I had any gibberish, the page would still work. So we are going to wire this page with Keystatic data, but before we do so, we need to take care of some styling problems here. You can see the other pages like the homepage or the single post page use a different font family, use some spacing. And this is all coming from this global styles.css file that has a minimal amount of default styling. And if we look at what happens right now, our homepage, which is these templates, imports the styles. And then our post slug does not import the styles, but it has its own layout which imports the styles. And so if we wanted to make it work, we could copy this layout file in the author/slug folder. And here I'd need to adjust relative path to that style file. Now, if I visit the author page, we would have the matching styles. But we definitely don't want to duplicate this layout for each page. And you might wonder, if I close all of these, why we're not importing the styles in the root layout at the root level of our app directory. Why don't we here import the styles.css file? Because the rest of the layout is the same, which means that we could remove the import of the styles in the homepage. We could remove the layout for the individual post pages and remove the author slug layout that we've just created. And if I hard refresh this is the home page, this is the single post page, and this is the author page, and everything still works with only one layout. Great, but let's see what happens if we visit the Keystatic route. You can see that our spacing, vertical and horizontal, which is defined in the global styles here, is also affecting the Keystatic Admin UI because the Keystatic routes sit in the app directory, just like our other routes. And so obviously we don't want this. We want to let Keystatic do its own styling and only apply our styles to the front-end pages or the website. In other words, we kind of want to scope out the Keystatic directory and the API directory, which is also for Keystatic routes, when we define our layout with the styles.css file. And Next.js has this concept of route groups, which will allow you to scope a layout to a specific set of routes. All you have to do is create a folder name with parentheses, just like that. And so let's create this website or site group so we can leave Keystatic alone and only focus on our front-end routes. Inside app, I'll create a folder and in parentheses, we'll have site. Now I want to move everything except Keystatic routes in there. So the slug, which is for, and yes, I'll update the imports. So this is for the individual blog posts. I want the authors also in site. Yes. And I want my root layout, my home page, and the styles.css file also inside this site folder. So now if I collapse the site, all we have left is the Keystatic and Keystatic API routes and our reader util. So the home page inherits the style, the blog post page inherits the styles, and so does the author page. But if I visit the Keystatic route, none of the styles have made it through. Perfect.